Cheating wife wants to force me to do it with her and another woman as some kind of penance for cheating on me. Hey everyone, sorry we're all here. I don't know if this is the right forum, but I'm going to post it here and hope the mods will direct me correctly if it is not. About a year ago when I was offshore, she started an affair with a married man from her job. I finally found out after I was back home and unemployed. I almost feel like I stayed with her for fear of not having a job. Much of my family are dead or not in contact, and over time I have lost all close friends that I have known coming up because my profession requires me to be on the rig for months. I know I have myself to blame for staying after she cheated on me the first time, because 2 weeks ago I caught her cheating on me again. As the saying goes, D-Day was 2 weeks ago, and I have already served her divorce papers. To give you guys a full picture, let's go back to about a year ago when she cheated on me the first time. About a year ago, I fell on hard times, without a job or money. It was back in 2018 during the oil crisis. My profession was in the oil and gas industries, and I worked offshore, so when all the jobs dried up, our savings dried up as well, mainly because my wife spent like a drunken sailor. I had some savings, but I used it on making the down payment for our house. She had an okay job, but I make most of the money. If you are familiar with oil rig jobs, you would know that my job is very stressful, because it is dangerous, and it required me to stay offshore for months on end, few months on and few weeks off. I lost my job and couldn't find any other jobs, because all my experience were on offshore positions, and employers didn't seem to be hiring. I was used to working since I was 16 years old, never gone a month without a job, so I felt like a broken man. After 5 months of not being able to find a job, I stayed home all day. My wife was the only one working, and since she spent most of our money on useless things, all our money was going to paying credit card, then mortgage, utilities, and groceries. Although I was collecting unemployment, it only went so far. The crisis really hit me hard, especially because we just made a huge down payment on a brand new house, so all my saving and reserve money went into that. The job market was so bad at that time I couldn't even find a job as a janitor. Should I explain to you what that did to my confidence? About myself, I am 25, my wife is 26. We have been together since high school. We never went to college mainly because we had kids at a young age and had to grow up quick. We have 2 girls, an 8-year-old and 6-year-old. While I was unemployed, I tried to make myself useful by cleaning the house every day, babysitting my kids, taking them to school, cooking and doing all the household stuff. All my wife had to do was work. When she comes back from work, I try to make her life as comfortable as I can. I even give her back massages during a stressful day at work. My self-esteem was very low at that time. My self-worth was tied to being the provider of the family, and I wasn't accomplishing that. So I started suspecting that she was having an affair when she started coming home late. For instance, she will come home on Monday like at 5 p.m. and Tuesday like at 9 p.m. or so. Her excuses range from too much traffic, to girls' night out, to working late. She is an hourly worker, and I get to see her paycheck, and I know she doesn't work much overtime. At least her paycheck doesn't reflect the amount of overtime she claims. You would think she is working 80 hours a week, but in reality she is getting paid like 45 to 50 hours. We have a joint account, and her paycheck is directly deposited to the joint account. I used the same account when I was employed as well. So, I felt like she was distant with me and the kids. Sometimes I would be talking to her, and she wouldn't even be paying attention. She was zoning out of her lives. She also started texting a lot and seemed a bit too excited answering her text messages. She tries to hide it, but I have known her so long and can read through her. She locks her iPhone with fingerprint and password, and I don't know her password. I felt like I was at a dead end. When I complained to her about it, it always turned into a big argument. She makes jokes about me not contributing, not doing enough around the house even though I do everything. She always tried to deflect and not take any responsibility for coming home late. When I ask her about the incongruity with her paycheck and the overtime she claimed to be working, she always acts defensive, telling me that she is not a work slave, that I have no right to question how much she brings home. Then I thought about following her after work to see where she goes. But then I have to rent a car because we only have one family car, and I don't have money to rent another car. This went on for a few weeks, but one night we got drunk at home, but she got extra drunk and passed out, so I used her finger to unlock her iPhone. Long story short, I saw all the text messages. It reveals an ongoing affair that she has been having with a co-worker. The relationship was physical and emotional. She wasn't saying she was going to leave me. she was just doing it to get attention from the affair partner. She enjoys the butterfly in your stomach kind of thing. Just a coworker that validated her long enough for her to spread her legs. At the time, this guy has been flirting with her for over 11 months, and they carried on a physical affair for 9 months. It started when I was offshore. The affair partner is married, so she was banging him in my house when I was offshore, at work and in the park. I spent the rest of the night taking pictures of her text messages. I confronted her the next day, and she confessed. I should have walked away from the marriage. I should have divorced her. I should have separated, but I wasn't in a position to do so. I really wanted the relationship to work because I just made a huge down payment for our new home. I have been saving that money for years, and now I was on unemployment, and using it to pay off our joint credit card debt that she racked up with her shopaholic habits. After I caught her cheating, things never felt the same. We couldn't talk about the affair, as she would break down crying, and I spent much of the rest of the day, or even weeks, consoling her as she talks about how she never wanted it to happen. I couldn't speak to anyone else about it. The idea of this even sends her into a breakdown. I couldn't tell her that she needs to quit her job, because we needed the money. She told me that she broke it off with him. I exposed the other man to his spouse, so he quit working there after that. About 6 months after the affair, I was lucky to find a lucrative job as a field service technician. It requires few days of travel, but it was better than the offshore gig where I was gone for months. Ever since I caught her cheating, she has been going through depression. After I found a job, she decided to quit hers. She has gotten used to me doing everything. She does no housework, rarely cooks, and then she decided that it's her mission to get me a threesome with her and another woman as some kind of penance for cheating on me. During that period, I didn't understand her or anything that was happening. I built my entire life around her in every way I could, and now I had this emptiness inside of me that won't go away. The times we have been able to talk, and I extract some info out of her, it's always because she felt disconnected from me, and liked the attention. The only information I have about the affair are from the information I found from the text messages. She destroyed 2 families as far as I'm concerned, as the other man confessed to his wife and lost custody of his kids before going to join the military to hopefully die in the sandbox. Her excuse was that he pursued her for months, and because I wasn't around, she was weak and gave into his attention and flattery, but the text messages shows that she was just as into it as he was. I still remember all the vile things I read in her messaging app when I discovered it, and it makes me sick. Now she's unemployed, spends her days shopping online, watching TV, or playing video games. She regularly breaks down and talks about her life-ending ideation, but she won't seek help. I felt like I was stuck with her forever, as if I leave, she will potentially either end herself or definitely end up destitute. I didn't want to be responsible for hurting someone after I was destroyed myself. 5 months after I started working, my self-confidence returned, and it led to a lot of fights as I disliked many of the ways she treats me and our kids. I told her to get her act together, force her to do housework and cook, separated my finance from hers by closing our joint bank account, borrow money to pay off our credit card, and then close it all, to curb her spending habit. She fought me every step of the way. She told me that I am being controlling and unfair. And she started giving me the silent treatment. 2 weeks ago, I went on a business trip to service the machine of one of our clients about 120 miles from my house. It was supposed to be a 2-day job, so I rented a hotel close to the client location. The service job went faster than I expected, and I was able to complete my task in a day. Instead of spending the night at the hotel and traveling the next day, I decided to drive back home. I called my wife, but she wasn't picking up, so I thought she was busy with the kids or something. So, I checked out of the hotel and drove back home. I spent almost 3 hours driving back home. About 5 minutes before I got home, I realized that my wife hadn't called me back, so I called her again. It rang a couple times before she answered. She sounded like she was out of breath, and I knew something was off. She sounded surprised when I told her that I'm coming home, and she immediately hanged up. My spider's sense was up. I had it in the back of my mind that she was cheating on me at a guy's house. But not until I got to my driveway and saw a strange car driving away from my driveway did I suspect that she had someone in my house. I rushed into the house, the front door was unlocked, and I immediately knew the strange car must be a guy getting away from my house. I rushed into my bedroom as my wife greeted me at the front door of the bedroom. Her hair was messed up, and she had a bathroom robe on. She kind of stood in my way as if to distract me from entering the room, asking me why I was home early. I shrugged her aside. Upon my entry, I examined the bedroom and bathroom. Found used the bedroom stunk. The bed was unmade. At this point I didn't need her to confess. She saw the look on my face and immediately said, "I can explain." I asked her where the kids were, and she told me that she dropped them off at her friend's house. At that moment I couldn't believe that she cheated on me again. She sent my kids away so she could a guy in my bed. I have enough self-respect this time to not fall for her crime. She is a tramp and a manipulative one. I told her that I was getting a divorce and that she doesn't need to explain anything. She kept saying that she was sorry and wouldn't do it again. D-Day was 2 weeks ago, and I have already served her divorce papers. I have proof of her infidelity, and that she is an unfit mother, so she can't turn that around on me. I plan to use that against her to gain full custody of my kids, because she is truly an unfit mother. I still can't believe that I nursed this woman through cheating on me. I should have been the one that was being nursed, but somehow she turned it around on me, and because I was insecure as a man I didn't realize it.